I learned my wife had been planning to leave me when she sent a voice note to the wrong person, me, detailing her new life with someone else. I responded, "Good to know." Then I sent the recording to my attorney, her father, and HR. When she finally checked her phone and heard what she'd sent 4 hours later, I, 32 male, had been married to Christina for 6 years. We met at a company retreat, fell in love over shared dreams, and built what I thought was a solid life together. Our apartment overlooked the river. We had routines, Sunday pancakes, Friday movie nights, the kind of ordinary that felt safe. 3 months ago, something shifted. Christina started working late. She joined a new project team at the office. Her phone stayed face down on the counter. When I asked about her day, her answers got shorter. I told myself it was stress, work pressure, nothing to worry about. That Tuesday afternoon changed everything. I was at my desk reviewing contracts when my phone buzzed. A voice note from Christina, 2 minutes and 47 seconds long. I tapped play, expecting a grocery list or dinner plans. Her voice filled my earbuds, bright and excited. "Hey babe, I can't wait anymore. I'm doing it next week. I already talked to the lawyer this morning, and he said it'll be quick since we don't have kids. Daniel has no idea. Honestly, it's almost funny how clueless he's been. I'll file on Monday, and by the time he realizes what's happening, I'll already be out." My hand froze on the mouse. I know we said we'd wait until after the promotion, but I can't keep pretending. Last night at dinner, he was talking about renovating the kitchen, and I just sat there thinking about our trip to Costa Rica. Remember that hotel with the ocean view? That's where I want to be. With you. Not stuck in some boring routine with someone who thinks a new backsplash is exciting. She laughed. The sound felt like glass breaking. "Patrick, I swear, the hardest part is acting normal. This morning he asked if I wanted to go hiking this weekend, and I had to pretend I cared. I hate hiking. I've always hated hiking, but I just smiled and said maybe. God, I can't wait to stop pretending." The recording continued. She talked about moving into Patrick's condo downtown, about finally being happy, about how she'd already started transferring money from our joint account into one I didn't know existed. "He won't fight it. Daniel's too passive. He'll just sign the papers and move on. And honestly, that makes this easier. I feel bad, kind of, but also, I deserve to be happy. We both do. I'll call you after work. Love you." The voice note ended. I sat there staring at my computer screen without seeing it. The office buzzed around me. Someone laughed in the break room. A printer hummed nearby. Everything felt distant, like I was watching my life through thick glass. My phone showed the message timestamp. 2:47 p.m. Sent 4 minutes ago. I replayed it once, then again. Not because I misunderstood, but because I needed to be absolutely certain. Every word was clear, every detail specific. Her lawyer's name, Patrick from marketing, the Monday filing date, the Costa Rica trip. This wasn't a mistake I could explain away. My hands were steady when I opened a new message thread. I typed 3 words. "Good to know." I hit send. Then I sat back and thought through my next moves with strange clarity. Panic would come later. Right now, I needed to act. I forwarded the voice note to 3 people. First, my attorney, Marcus Webb, who'd handled our home purchase 2 years ago. I added a short message asking him to call me immediately and included a request to discuss divorce proceedings. Second, Christina's father, Richard. He and I had always gotten along. We shared season tickets to the baseball games. He'd given a speech at our wedding about Christina finding someone steady, someone reliable. I didn't add any text to that message. The voice note spoke for itself. Third, our company's HR department. Christina and I worked for the same firm, though in different divisions. I knew the employee handbook by heart. Section 4.7 explicitly prohibited romantic relationships between colleagues without disclosure. Christina was a senior analyst. Patrick worked in her department. Neither had disclosed anything. I attached the voice note to an email and wrote a formal complaint citing the policy violation and my concern about potential conflicts of interest given their positions. I kept it professional. No emotion, just facts. The timestamp on my final email read 2:58 p.m. 11 minutes had passed since Christina sent the voice note. I saved copies of everything. The original message, my attorney's confirmation that he'd received it, the email receipt from HR, I created a new folder on my personal drive, backed it up to 3 locations, and made sure nothing could disappear. Then I waited. Christina wouldn't check her messages for hours. She never did during work. Her phone stayed in her bag during meetings, and Tuesday afternoons meant back-to-back client presentations until 6. She had no idea what she'd done. No idea that the message meant for Patrick had landed in my inbox instead. No idea that her carefully constructed plan was already unraveling. I looked at my watch. 3:04 p.m., 4 hours until she'd realize her mistake. Marcus called at 3:31 p.m. "Daniel, I just listened to the recording. I'm sorry. What do I need to do?" His voice shifted into professional mode. "First, that recording is admissible in divorce proceedings. It demonstrates intent to dissolve the marriage and provides evidence of asset concealment. You mentioned she's been transferring money?" "She said she has. I haven't checked yet." "Check now. Log into your accounts and document everything. Take screenshots with timestamps. If she's been moving marital assets without your knowledge, that strengthens your position significantly." I pulled up our bank accounts on my laptop. Our joint checking showed regular activity, mortgage payments, utilities, groceries. But the savings account balance looked wrong. We'd had $47,000 3 months ago. Now it showed $22,000. Half is gone. Screenshot that. Check for new accounts in her name. Credit cards, anything opened recently. I spent 20 minutes going through financial records. Marcus stayed on the line, guiding me through each step. I found 3 new credit cards I hadn't known about, all in Christina's name only. Combined balance of $18,000. Charges for hotels, restaurants, plane tickets to Costa Rica, dated for next month. "Marcus, she's already booked the trip." "Good, document it all. That establishes a pattern. Now here's what happens next. I'll file a motion for temporary orders first thing tomorrow. We'll request that all marital assets be frozen immediately. She won't be able to transfer or withdraw anything else. Given the recording and the financial evidence, the court will likely grant it." "How fast can this move?" "With this evidence, fast. New York allows for expedited proceedings when there's proof of asset dissipation. We can have preliminary orders within days. The full divorce might take a few months, but you'll be protected financially starting tomorrow." I heard rustling papers on his end. "One more thing, Daniel. Don't engage with her emotionally when she contacts you, and she will contact you. Stay calm. Refer her to me for all communication. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just stay quiet and let the evidence speak." "Understood. I'll have the initial paperwork ready by end of business today. Can you come by my office at 7? "I'll be there." We hung up. My watch showed 4:09 p.m., less than 2 hours until Christina finished her presentations. Richard called at 4:47 p.m. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I could hear his breathing, heavy and uneven. "Daniel, I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything. I raised her better than this. Her mother and we taught her about commitment, about honesty. This is," his voice cracked, "this is not who she's supposed to be. I'm sorry you had to find out this way." "You're apologizing to me? Son, you're the one who—" He stopped, cleared his throat. "What do you need from me?" "Nothing. I just thought you should know before Christina tries to control the narrative. She's going to tell me you were the problem, that you didn't pay attention to her, that you let the marriage die." "Probably. But I heard that recording. I heard my daughter laugh about deceiving you, about stealing from you, about planning this behind your back for God knows how long." He paused. "She won't get sympathy from me, Daniel. Not this time." I heard a door close on his end. When he spoke again, his voice was harder. "Her mother is going to be devastated. Christina is the only girl. We've given her everything, paid for her education, helped with the wedding, gave you both the down payment for the apartment. And this is how she repays us? By destroying a good marriage for some office affair?" "Richard, I appreciate—" "No, let me finish. I'm calling my attorney too. The down payment was a gift to both of you. But if she's dissolving the marriage, we're going to explore whether that money can be reclaimed. I'm not letting her fund a new life with Patrick using money her mother and I worked 40 years to save." I hadn't expected that. "You don't have to do that." "Yes, I do. Not just for you. For principle, Christina needs to understand that actions have consequences, real consequences, not just hurt feelings. We talked for another 10 minutes. Richard asked questions about the recording, about the timeline, about whether I'd suspected anything. I told him the truth, that I'd been completely blindsided, that I trusted her. That trust meant something, Daniel. Don't let her take that from you. Don't let this make you cynical. I'll try. Come by the house this weekend, Saturday. We'll have dinner. You're still family to us, regardless of what Christina does. After we hung up, I sat in my office chair and stared at the ceiling. The fluorescent lights hummed. Outside my door, colleagues were packing up for the day. Someone laughed about happy hour plans. My watch showed 5:23 p.m., 37 minutes until Christina's presentations ended. At 6:04 p.m., I got an email from HR. Mr. Thompson, thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. We have reviewed the recording you submitted and have opened a formal investigation into the relationship between Christina Thompson and Patrick Morrison. Both employees will be placed on immediate administrative leave pending the outcome of our investigation. We take policy violations seriously and appreciate your discretion in handling this matter through proper channels. You will be contacted within 48 hours with updates. Please do not discuss this matter with other employees. I read it 3 times. Administrative leave. Immediate. That meant Christina would be pulled from work, sent home, told to wait. The humiliation wouldn't be private. Her colleagues would notice. They'd ask questions. Patrick would face the same treatment. I forwarded the email to Marcus with a note that documentation was expanding. My phone rang at 6:41 p.m. Unknown number, I answered. Daniel Thompson? Speaking. This is Patrick Morrison. We need to talk. I said nothing. Look, I know you got Christina's message. She's losing her mind right now. She just realized what happened, and she's been trying to call you for 20 minutes. Why aren't you answering? I'm talking to you instead. This doesn't have to be ugly. Christina and I were in love. She was going to tell you this week anyway. The voice note was just bad timing. Bad timing? Yeah. Unfortunate. But the reality is, your marriage has been over for months. You know that. She knows that. We're just being honest about it now. I leaned back in my chair. Patrick, did HR call you yet? Silence. I'm guessing not. They will. Probably around 7. You and Christina are both on administrative leave. Policy violation, Section 4.7, undisclosed workplace relationship. You reported us. I forwarded documentation to the appropriate department. His voice rose. You petty piece of... I also sent the recording to Christina's father and my attorney. The divorce paperwork will be filed tomorrow morning with a motion to freeze all marital assets. Christina's already moved $25,000 out of our accounts without my knowledge, and she's racked up $18,000 in charges preparing for your Costa Rica trip. The court won't look favorably on that. You can't? I already did. 47 minutes ago. Everything's documented. Time-stamped. Backed up. Christina wanted this to be quick and easy. She'll get quick. But it won't be easy. I heard breathing. Sharp. Angry. She's going to destroy you for this. With what? A voice note where she admits to planning everything? Where she laughs about deceiving me? Where she details financial fraud? Good luck with that strategy, Patrick. I hung up. My hands were shaking now. Adrenaline finally hitting. I stood, paced my office, forced myself to breathe slowly. The calm I'd maintained for 4 hours was cracking. My phone buzzed. Christina, calling for the 15th time. I declined the call. Christina was waiting outside our apartment when I got home at 7:34 p.m. She'd been crying. Mascara streaked down her face. Her blazer was wrinkled. She stood when she saw me coming down the hall. Daniel, please, we need to talk. I kept walking toward the door. It was a mistake. The voice note, I didn't mean for you to hear it like that. I unlocked the door. You weren't supposed to hear it at all. I was going to tell you this weekend. Sit down with you. Explain everything properly. I stepped inside. She followed. Say something. Please yell at me. Tell me I'm horrible. Just don't stay quiet like this. I set my bag down, took off my jacket, walked to the kitchen and poured water. Christina stood in the living room, arms wrapped around herself. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. What I did, the way I did it, That wasn't fair. But Daniel, we haven't been happy for a long time. You know that. I drank the water slowly. Did you report me to HR? Patrick said you sent them something. I sent them the voice note. Her face went white. Why would you do that? That was private. That was between us. No, that was a policy violation. You and Patrick work in the same department. You're in a senior position. Neither of you disclosed the relationship. Section 4.7. You're really going to use policy against me right now? When our marriage is falling apart? Our marriage fell apart months ago, according to your voice note, the one where you detailed your plans to leave me, your secret lawyer meetings, and your theft of marital assets. I didn't steal anything. That money is half mine. Moving it without disclosure during divorce planning is called asset dissipation. My attorney explained it very clearly. Christina's expression shifted, fear replacing anger. You talked to an attorney? I talked to Marcus, same day. He's filing tomorrow morning. Daniel, wait. Don't do this. We can work this out. Go to counseling. Take time. Why would I do that? Because we're married. Because we made vows. Because 6 years means something. I set down my glass. You're right. 6 years meant something. Past tense. You spent months planning to leave me. You opened secret accounts. You booked trips. You laughed about how clueless I was. You told another man you hated hiking even though we've been doing it together for years. You called our life boring. You said I was too passive to fight back. Tears ran down her face. I was confused. Patrick made me feel things I hadn't felt in a long time. But that doesn't mean I don't love you. You don't love me, Christina. You love convenience. You love having someone reliable while you plan your exit. But you wanted the exit on your terms, your timeline, your narrative. Please. I also sent the recording to your father. Her face crumbled. You didn't. He called me at 4:47 p.m. He's talking to his attorney about reclaiming the down payment money he gave us, since you're the one dissolving the marriage. Christina sank onto the couch. Her whole body shook. You've destroyed everything. No, you destroyed everything. I just made sure everyone knew. I walked to the bedroom, packed a bag with enough clothes for a week, grabbed my laptop, chargers, important documents. Christina didn't move from the couch, didn't try to stop me. Where are you going? Hotel. Marcus advised against staying here during proceedings. This is your home. Not anymore. I stopped at the door, looked back at her sitting there, broken and small. For what it's worth, Christina, I really did love you. I would have done anything to make you happy, but you never gave me the chance to try. I closed the door behind me. The next morning, Marcus filed the divorce petition along with an emergency motion to freeze all marital assets. The judge granted it by noon. Christina couldn't access our accounts, couldn't make charges, couldn't move money. HR's investigation concluded by Thursday. Both Christina and Patrick were formally reprimanded and reassigned to different departments. Patrick lost his team lead position. Christina's upcoming promotion was indefinitely postponed. Richard followed through on his threat. His attorney sent Christina a demand letter seeking return of the down payment funds, citing her intentional destruction of the marriage as grounds for gift revocation. The letter was formal, cold, and legally airtight. Christina tried to reach me 17 more times that first week. I forwarded every call to Marcus. Every text went unanswered. She showed up at my hotel twice. I had the front desk turn her away. By Friday, mutual friends started reaching out. Some tried to stay neutral. Others wanted gossip. I gave them nothing. Just said the marriage was ending, and I'd appreciate privacy. Sunday afternoon, I went to Richard and Claire's house for dinner as promised. Claire hugged me at the door. Her eyes were red. I'm so sorry, Daniel. I know. Dinner was quiet. We talked about weather, about work, about anything except Christina. Toward the end, Richard cleared his throat. She called us yesterday, asked us to talk to you, to convince you to drop the asset freeze and the financial investigation. What did you tell her? I told her no, that she made her choices and now she has to live with them. Claire touched my hand across the table. I keep thinking about your wedding day, how happy you both looked, How certain I was that Christina had found her person. She wiped her eyes. I don't understand what happened. How she could throw away something so good. She met someone who made her feel different things. That's all. That's not all. That's infatuation. That's selfishness. Love means staying when things get hard. It means choosing your person every day. Christina forgot that. We sat in silence for a while. You'll come for Thanksgiving, won't you? Claire asked. I know it's 2 months away, but I want you to know you're still welcome. Still family. I'd like that. The divorce moved quickly. Christina initially tried to fight the asset freeze, claiming financial hardship. Marcus responded with detailed documentation of her secret transfers, her undisclosed credit cards, and her Costa Rica plane tickets purchased with marital funds. The judge denied her motion. She tried to negotiate a 50-50 split of all assets. Marcus countered with documentation of her asset dissipation and pointed out that she'd already taken $25,000. We demanded she return it or accept a reduced share of remaining assets. Patrick stopped contacting me after HR's investigation concluded. I heard through colleagues that his relationship with Christina cooled significantly once the consequences became real. Turned out planning a secret romance was more exciting than facing career setbacks together. 6 weeks after the voice note, Christina's attorney requested a settlement meeting. We met in Marcus's conference room. Christina looked smaller than I remembered. Tired, her usual polish gone. She wouldn't meet my eyes. The settlement terms were straightforward. Christina would return $15,000 of the $25,000 she'd taken. The remaining $10,000 would count as her first withdrawal from her share of joint assets. We'd split the apartment equity 50-50, but I'd keep the apartment. She'd take her car, I'd keep mine. We'd divide retirement accounts according to standard formula. Christina signed everything without argument. As we stood to leave, she finally looked at me. I really am sorry. I know. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I considered the question honestly. Maybe eventually, but not because you deserve it, just because holding on to anger takes too much energy. That's fair. We walked out of the conference room together one last time. At the elevator, she hesitated. For what it's worth, you were right about everything. Patrick and I, we didn't last. Turns out we had nothing in common except secrets. And once those were gone, she trailed off. You deserve better than what I did to you. The elevator doors opened. Yeah, I did. She stepped inside. The doors closed. I never saw Christina again. The divorce finalized 3 months after the voice note. I kept the apartment, repainted the bedroom, replaced furniture that reminded me too much of our life together. Slowly, the space became mine instead of ours. Work stayed complicated for a while. People knew. They whispered. But eventually, newer gossip replaced our story. Christina transferred to a different office location. I heard she was dating someone new, someone from outside the company this time. Patrick left the firm entirely. Last I heard, he'd moved to Seattle. Richard and Claire kept their promise. I spent Thanksgiving with them. Christmas, too. They became the family Christina had walked away from. Not replacements, just people who chose to stay. Marcus became a friend beyond just my attorney. We grabbed lunch once a month, talked about life, about moving forward. He never said I told you so, but he did say I'd handled everything exactly right. Most people react emotionally, he explained once. They yell. They break things. They make threats. You documented everything, followed proper channels, and let the evidence speak. That's why you came out ahead. Ahead feels generous. You're not paying alimony. You kept your home. You exposed workplace policy violations that protected you professionally. And you maintained relationships with people who matter. That's ahead, Daniel. By spring, 6 months after the voice note, I started feeling like myself again. I took up woodworking, built shelves, fixed furniture, lost myself in projects that required focus and precision. Something about working with my hands, about creating physical things, helped me process what I'd lost. I dated a little. Nothing serious, just coffee, dinners, reminders that connection was still possible. One Saturday morning, I was sanding a bookshelf in my apartment when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Daniel, this is Patrick. I stopped sanding. What do you want? I know I have no right to call, but I needed to say something. I've been in therapy, working through stuff, and my therapist said I needed to apologize to people I've hurt. So this is about you feeling better. No, yes, maybe partly, but also I genuinely am sorry. What Christina and I did, the way we did it, that was wrong. We justified it by telling ourselves your marriage was already dead. But that wasn't our call to make. We cheated. We lied. We hurt you deliberately. I set down the sandpaper. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Patrick? That I forgive you? That we're good? We're not. What you did cost me 6 years of my life and someone I loved. But I'm also not going to carry that around forever. You apologized. I heard it. That's enough. Christina still talks about you sometimes, about how you handled everything. She says you were always the better person. I wasn't better. I was just done being the person who stayed quiet while people took advantage. We talked for another few minutes, awkward, stilted, but by the end, something felt settled, not healed, just settled. After I hung up, I finished sanding the bookshelf, applied stain, let it dry in the afternoon sun. The voice note that destroyed my marriage was still saved in my phone. I'd kept it as evidence even after the divorce finalized. Now I opened the file, listened to 10 seconds, and deleted it. I didn't need it anymore. 1 year after the voice note, I had dinner with someone named Rachel. We met at a gallery opening through mutual friends. She restored antique books, had steady hands and a quiet sense of humor. We talked for 2 hours about nothing important, then everything important. On our third date, she asked about my divorce. How bad was it? Pretty bad. Do you want to talk about it? I thought about Christina's voice in that recording, about the months of planning, about the moment everything changed, about the anger and hurt and eventual acceptance. Not really, but I'll tell you this. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that I can handle betrayal without becoming bitter, and that sometimes the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's just moving forward and building something better. Rachel smiled. That's a good answer. We walked through the city after dinner, past the river where Christina and I used to jog, past the coffee shop where we had our first date, past the building where we lived together. None of it hurt anymore. 2 years after the voice note, Richard called. Christina's engaged. Good for her. You mean that? Yeah, I hope she's happy. I hope she learned something. But mostly, I just hope she's someone else's problem now. Richard laughed. Claire wanted me to tell you something. She said she's grateful you're still in our lives. That losing Christina was hard, but losing you would have been worse. Tell her I feel the same way. Come by next Sunday, we're grilling. I'll be there. 3 years after the voice note, I proposed to Rachel in the apartment I'd rebuilt after the divorce. She said yes immediately. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Richard and Claire sat in the front row. Marcus was my best man. Everyone who mattered was there. During the reception, someone asked how Rachel and I met. I told the story simply, about the gallery, about talking for hours, about finding someone when I wasn't looking. You seem really happy, they said. I am. And I meant it. The voice note that had destroyed my first marriage had also forced me to become someone stronger. Someone who stood up for himself. Someone who understood that love meant choosing someone who chose you back. Every day, without hesitation. Christina taught me what I didn't want. Rachel showed me what I did. That night after the reception ended, Rachel and I sat on our balcony overlooking the river. The city lights reflected off the water. Everything felt peaceful. Do you ever think about her? Rachel asked. Sometimes, but not the way you might think. What way then? I think about how that voice note was the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. Worst because it hurt like hell. Best because it forced me to stop accepting less than I deserved. Rachel leaned against my shoulder. I'm glad you didn't accept less. Me too. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the city settle into night. Somewhere across town, Christina was living her life. Patrick was living his. They'd both moved on, and so had I. But I'd moved on to something better, something real, something built on honesty instead of secrets, on choice instead of convenience, on mutual respect instead of one-sided sacrifice. The voice note had been meant for someone else, But in a strange way, it had been exactly what I needed to hear. Not the words themselves, but what they revealed. The truth I'd been too comfortable to see. Christina had done me a favor. She'd shown me who she really was, and I'd listened. That was the real revenge. Not the HR report, or the frozen assets, or the quick divorce. The real revenge was this moment right here. Happy, whole, free, living a life Christina could never take from me again. Because I'd finally learned the most important lesson. That being loved wasn't about being chosen over and over by the same person who kept hurting you. It was about being chosen by someone who never wanted to hurt you in the first place. Rachel kissed my cheek. What are you thinking about? Absolutely nothing important. Good. We stayed on the balcony until the stars came out, until the city went quiet, until the past felt distant enough to let go completely, and then we went inside, together, into the life we were building, into the future that was finally genuinely ours. The voice note was deleted years ago, but even if it wasn't, it wouldn't matter anymore. Because the person it hurt no longer existed, I'd become someone new, someone stronger, someone free.